Hello and welcome to the second video in the ESC tutorial series, External Source Control Customized Programming. In this video, we will go into more detail about how to configure the ESC feature to get the exact functionality you require for your system. If you haven't seen the first video, ESC Basics, I'd encourage you to go back and check out that video first, as it covers the details on how to get the ESC feature up and running. To get started, let's go ahead and get back into installer setup. To do this, we do this by entering the installer password here, 141, and clicking the Enable button. We now have full access to the installer setup menu. For this video, we'll be spending all of our time in the ESC tab. You can see that we have our ESC control signal assigned to a relay, which we covered in the previous video. We also see that the factory default program is still in place. Let's go ahead and clear this program out and start from scratch. Each of these schedules is removed by clicking on the X in the top right corner of each schedule. We are now presented with a note, "You have nothing defined," along with a button to restore the factory defaults. We'll be building our own schedule, so we won't need the factory default program. Let's review the user interface before we jump in. On the left, we have our list of schedule types, along with the quantity of each that we have at our disposal to build a program. For example, we have 3 start charging schedules. Each schedule type serves a different purpose. Start charging allows you to define criteria to stop and start your charging source. Emergency charging also allows you to start and stop your charging source, but as the name implies, the criteria you specify should take action to avoid a dire situation, like loss of the system loads. This schedule is in effect 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Pause charging behaves exactly the opposite of start charging. For pause charging schedule, you define when to override the running charge source and pause it. Then begin charging again once the resume criteria has been met. You might use this schedule to pause an auxiliary charger from running during peak hours on a sunny day, prioritizing your solar energy source, then resuming charger operation if it gets cloudy and the battery may not reach full charge. Last but not least is prohibit charging. This schedule essentially defines blackout hours, during which the ESC will not, under any circumstances, allow the charging source to run, not even during emergency charging. These schedules are added to the space on the right to build an ESC program. Each schedule is configured individually, and then they are automatically combined. The whole program, which includes the schedules and their criteria, are evaluated in real time to produce a singular on-off signal to your external charging source. On the right is where we will add these schedules to build our custom ESC program. Let's go ahead and add start charging schedule to our program. A blank start charging schedule has been added to our program. You'll notice there's a preset pull down that has some canned start and stop criteria to get you started. Let's choose the On a Schedule preset, which simply starts and stops the charging source based on a schedule you define. From here, we can edit all aspects of the schedule to get exactly what you want. The wrench icons allow you to edit each component: the start criteria, the stop criteria, and the date and times that defines the time windows when the criteria will be checked and acted upon at true and false. Let's begin by editing the default start criteria. We now have the criteria edit window. Click on the Add Condition. We're now presented with quite a bit of options. Let's go through these one by one. On the left is our default new condition. Battery voltage is greater than 12 volts for 1 minute, along with the controls to edit this condition on the right. Let's make our own condition. First, we have to define the type of condition we want. Simple condition allows you to compare a real-time value, like a voltage, current, or temperature, to a fixed numerical value. Variable comparison allows you to compare two real-time values, say two different voltage measurements in the system, or two currents. Range condition will be true if a given real-time value is between two fixed numerical values. For example, battery voltage is between 40 volts and 50 volts. And then we have event or state. This condition will be true when a specific event or state is currently active. You may want to check for a particular charging stage, like absorption or float, or maybe a low control state, like low voltage disconnect. With this background, let's build a start condition that becomes true when our solar charging current is too low for a period of time, probably due to poor weather. Let's choose simple condition. Now we need to choose a real-time value. We'll pick the GenStar charge current. Next, we select a compare type. Less than, equal to, greater than, and so on. Let's do less than. And now we need to provide a fixed numerical value, or a threshold compare. Let's put in 15 amps. Last, we can do a bit of filtering so that this conditional statement only becomes true if our criteria here is true for 30 minutes or more. So let's go ahead and change this 1 minute to 30 minutes. You may have noticed that as we edit the controls, the text here on the left updates in real time, so you can read the conditional statement at any time and see if it makes sense. Let's read our statement now. GenStar charge current is less than 15 amps for 30 minutes. Sounds good. Click OK to return to schedule. We now see our new start charging condition and can read in plain English how it operates. Next, we define the stop criteria. Very much the same method. We click on the wrench to pull up the edit window, click on add condition, and let's say we want to stop charging after the batteries reached absorption stage. We'll need to use the events condition type for this. Let's select start charge stage absorption. And we'll want to put some filtering on this comparison. So we'll say 5 minutes in the absorption stage. And then we click OK. Let's take a moment to admire our work. We've defined custom start and stop criteria. The external charger will start when battery current is low and won't stop until we reach the absorption stage. Very nice. We have one more thing to do before our custom schedule is complete. We need to specify the dates and times during which our conditions will be evaluated. Outside of these dates and times, our conditions will not be evaluated, and thus our external charge source will not run outside of these hours. Click on the wrench on the schedule side, and you can see that it is expanded to show 4 schedule blocks. We'll only be using one schedule in this example, so we'll disable the other 3. If we wanted to permit our charge source to run any time, day or night, 7 days a week, we would simply check the everyday and all-day checkboxes. But let's say we're pretty picky about our operating hours. We have a noisy generator and don't want it running all hours of the night. We uncheck all day and instead choose a block of time that works for us. Let's do 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. We also don't want to run on weekends for whatever reason. Let's uncheck the everyday and make sure we've selected only Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. The weekends are not highlighted. Click on the wrench again to collapse the schedule edit. You can see there's a nice little calendar that shows you visually the hours of the day and the days of the week under which these conditions will be evaluated. Let's go ahead and verify our work. We'll read both of the start and stop conditions and double check the schedule. Start charging 1. Start charging when the generator charge current is less than 15 amps for 30 minutes. Stop charging when the charge stage absorption occurs for 5 minutes. Our criteria will be evaluated Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Click the Save button to save your work. And that's it. Congratulations! You've made your first custom ESC schedule. Be sure to check out the third and final video of this ESC series, where we will dive into more advanced topics like combinational logic, multiple schedule programs, and more. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.